Hello, I'm Thomas Robinson, State Training and MYTEP Coordinator in the Training and Exercise section of the Florida Division of Emergency Management. And I'd like to talk to you today about our experience utilizing the Readiness Training Improvement Planning process in building our multi-year training and exercise plans. In the Training and Exercise section, we're responsible for numerous tasks, such as coordinating the delivery of courses for county and first responders, and serving the training needs of the division staff and members of the state emergency response team. But we're also responsible for the planning, coordination, development, and execution of the state's MYTEP. Now, prior to using the RTIPP methods, we were not building statewide training exercise calendars with gap analysis as the basis for determining what core capabilities needed improving. We had no statewide method for the rationale used to determine what went into the training and exercise plans and why. What we had was a collection of training and exercise calendars and training and exercise priorities, but no documentation showing the rationale for why we chose specific training courses and exercise activities to populate our MYTEP. For the most part, it was just consolidating training schedules, meeting grant guidance, using buzzwords, and conducting exercises according to current trends. The result was that we tended to see training being selected based on surveys, what our stakeholders wanted to train on, and even what the counties thought the state would pay for. Our MYTEP was increasingly becoming a funding document and less of an improvement plan. Last year, when we heard of the RTIPP process, we were intrigued and started discussions with the NCBRT to bring the course to Florida. After reviewing the course content and objectives, we decided that we wanted to integrate the RTIPP processes into the statewide MYTEP. So we worked with the NCBRT staff to select sites around the state to conduct training on RTIPP. Our immediate objective was that in the coming MYTEP cycle, counties and their stakeholders would utilize the methods taught in the RTIPP course to honestly analyze their capability gaps, determine the appropriate training to close those gaps, and identify the measures for determining success. The course participants were initially selected by invitation only, since we wanted our primary audience to be county and state stakeholders and exercise training coordinators, or at the very least, persons directly involved with the input of training and exercise plans in their jurisdictions. Those attending the training formed the seed group who would go back to their organizations and train others on the RTIPP process. The deployment plan we devised to incorporate the RTIPP into our MYTEP included 4 phases. Phase 1 consisted of the planning, coordination, and conduct of 14 regional RTIPP classes, as well as the follow-along train-the-trainer RTIPP sessions. These would grow each county's pool of RTIPP-trained instructors who would then provide local assistance in gap analysis-based training and exercise development. In Phase 2, we gathered and reviewed all the training and exercise data from our 7 regions around the state. And then we compiled a statewide MYTEP database. In Phase 3, we extracted from this database a specific data set consisting of only the consortium courses that the state of Florida was going to require in the next 3 years. We gave this list to our consortium partners to work on. And finally, in Stage 4, it consisted of the compilation and analysis of the entire state's training and exercise requirements, determining of the state's priorities, and the publishing of the MYTEP. The result of our efforts was that the RTIPP process identified 522 unique gaps at the county level, 64% of which we identified could be closed with consortium courses. The remaining gaps would be closed with a combination of state, regional, and local training. The resulting MYTEP illustrated to us the value of the MYTEP-RTIPP integration. But more importantly, it emphasized the acute necessity to teach gap analysis-driven processes down to the lowest levels possible. We ended up with a systematic process that engaged the whole community in the development of core capabilities-based, gap analysis-driven training and exercise plans. And at every step of the process, we emphasize utilizing gap analysis to address the central core capabilities while tying them to training goals and linking them to exercises. The gap analysis process has served as a method for all Florida jurisdictions to use in demonstrating the clear linkage between their mission areas, their core capabilities, their performance targets, and their training deliveries and exercises. After completing the RTIPP, most stakeholders tended to take great ownership in their training and exercise plans. And as we start our second year utilizing the RTIPP process, I've had several stakeholders mention to me that they greatly appreciate the new method of developing training and exercise plans. And even those who were a little confused last year told me that the process made sense to them now, since they'd gone through an entire MYTEP training cycle. I would strongly recommend that your state consider using the RTIPP process in building your statewide MYTEP.